Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaur Avani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Tarine Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavi Vyo Namaha Namo Mahavadhanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gora Tvishe Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Jadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Hare Krishna. I thank the devotees that have asked me to speak something about His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, which is a great honor just to remember him. Remembering and talking about devotees is better than talking about Krishna, according to Krishna. And such a devotee as Bhakti Charu Maharaj is very rare. So I think, everybody knows so much more about him and his activities than I do. I never spent that much time with him. Of course, GBC meetings, so we were all sitting there together for 6-7 hours a day. And I definitely noted he was a very important part of the chemistry. He held back until things settled down on discussions, and then would always offer something that was very wise, in depth, and would remind us of Prabhupada. So everybody knows how dear he was to Srila Prabhupada and how much he loved Srila Prabhupada. Such a benediction that when he joined and when he first met Prabhupada, then he had a lot of association, and Prabhupada actually invited him to travel with him. So the last time of Prabhupada's life, he was his cook and servant, and he was translating all along, which is the most dear service to Prabhupada. And he was so dedicated. He translated, all the Prabhupada's books in not a very long time, because he just focused on that. Krishna gave him that facility. And so one of the topics I said I could speak about, because everybody, his disciples, they know a lot. They've watched so many videos. You've been with him a lot more than me. And so everybody knows that, everything about him was absolutely sublime. When they asked me to speak right in Japan, I said he is like the personification of Vaishnava etiquette. He didn't really have to teach it. He just lived it. And, so humble and nice. And even though he was like that with me, I always felt a little awe and reverence. I think he wanted, when I think back, to be more casual, but I felt like, who am I to be here, We had some nice talks together about various things. But one of the topics you gave, I was looking at, the timings for the live classes, and very, very inconvenient for my time zone at the moment. So I thought I'd make a video. And if anybody requests, I can try to find one of those time zones where I can fit in. But a lot of them are in times when I'm already engaged, and it's weird hours. So the topic that they're asking is service and separation. Now, this is, the crux or the root or something of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, of the Goswami Vaishnavism, Lord Chaitanya's teachings is separation. We have a saying in English, absence makes the heart grow fonder. When you lose something or somebody, you think about it a lot more and you realize the value more. So, and in the case of the guru leaving, of course, Prabhupada said in the beginning of the Bhagavatam that this is dedicated to the spiritual master who lives forever and his followers live with him. So my experience, because all of Prabhupada's disciples experienced the shock of losing their guru, and in the case of Prabhupada, it wasn't only personal loss, that when will I see him again? We didn't see him very much anyway, but for the whole society, Prabhupada was what do they say, the cross threads, the two, everything. He was a beginning, middle, and end. Just like the super soul in the universe, of the Krishna in the universal form, Prabhupada was like the super soul of the movement. He knew everything. He was guiding everyone and everything. And he could easily turn around the decisions of devotees. And so when we lost Prabhupada, then we not only lost that chance to personally associate with him, see his beautiful form and all that, but the guidance for the movement, the standards. Prabhupada, if he said this is the way you should chant, or this is the way that you should do the deity worship, or this is the way you should cook, nobody would argue. But now, everybody can have their own opinion. So it's different in that way. But for personally, the guru manifests in the heart of the sincere devotee a lot. This is what I've seen in the case of Prabhupada's disciples who stuck it out. And I had experience with Bhakti Charu Swami's disciples. After he left, they grew up a lot and started to represent him much more than before, because he was acting through them. That was my perception. So, Lord Chaitanya was not only in the last days in the Anjalila, but from the very beginning, especially when he was in Puri, Rath Yatra especially, experiencing this intense separation, the mood of Radharani. And Krishna is not understood. The Vaishnavas say we have our understanding, like Lord Ramachandra sending Sita to the forest. Now, he didn't exactly send her to the forest. In the jungle, he sent her to the ashram of Valmiki Muni, which was a very sheltered place. And she was very well taken care of. But it's not cruel. They both suffered, apparently, separation. She might have felt rejection, and Lord Ramachandra was feeling separation because he was, playing the role of being a madly in love husband, and he couldn't get another wife. Like most kings would have many wives, so if one goes away, it's not a big thing. But he had the Ekapatni, only one wife. And even though people were telling him he should get another one for doing the yagyas, he wouldn't do that. He made a golden murti of Sita. So they lived their life in this intense separation, which increased their attachment and their love and their thinking. Sita lived that whole year, and he, when she was kidnapped also, They were both feeling intense separation and wondering when will they get back together. Krishna left Vrindavan, and played games to give the Brijvasis that chance to feel this intense separation, because that brought out their love much more. So that is not easy to understand, especially now. Of course, your Bhakti Charu has been gone for 1 year or so, more than a year. So that's, you might get used to it and start to realize how much more present he is in your lives. I noted it for the first couple of months after he left it, the internet, Facebook, and everything was flooded with his lectures and pictures and different things. And there, nowadays we have unlimited access to recordings and writings and letters. So that way you can associate. There's no difference. And we can all associate. I was just reading Giriraj Swami. He had a memorial at his place, and he was looking at the picture and feeling separation. And he says he imagined, but it's not imaginary. But Bhakti Charu said, "Don't worry, I'm always with you. I'll always be there for you." And then he said, "I believe it, and I realize it's not just for me, but for everybody." Because we can associate. That's how we associate with Krishna. That's how we associate with Narada Muni, and how we associate with Prabhupada. By Vani. Vani is more important. And we see with, especially with Prabhupada, there were some of the early devotees, they were very attached to Prabhupada's Vapu. And they did amazing service so that they could see Prabhupada smiling and happy. That was just the perfection of their life. And when Prabhupada left, it became difficult for many of them to, unless they were really deeply taking shelter of Prabhupada's books and lectures. But when they do that, then, like, for instance, Shyam Sundar, he wrote his books, and he said he was thinking that he could finish in about 2 months. And so he was kind of stalling off to start writing. And then he started writing. And then he said Prabhupada came into his life, and he just remembered more and more. And then he was researching, every day that he was with Prabhupada, he was looking up in every other book and all the lectures and all the letters Prabhupada wrote, and really going back and being intimately with Prabhupada again. And it ended up taking a couple of years to write the book, because he just, in his sleep, everywhere he went, he'd keep remembering more and more. And that's separation. You see people when they get separated from their lover or separated from their dog. We see advertisements all over, and at least in Western countries, lost dog, lost cat, hundreds of dollars reward if you find it. They have intense feelings of attachment. So this is what we want for Krishna, for Guru. For Guru, we get attachment. Guru Krishna Prasadi by Bhakti Lata Bij. By Krishna's mercy, we get a Guru. And then by the mercy of the Guru, we get Krishna. And our line is to get this intense feelings of separation. Now, we're not going to feel separation from something you don't care about. But if you really love something or someone, actually can't love something that people think they love things. That's a saying that Ramana Swami uses, and I don't know who exactly said it first, but we're meant to love people and use things to serve people. But nowadays they're loving things and using people to, just get them things. So that's backwards. But the more we love someone, the more separation we're going to feel from them. We can't feel separation if you don't love the person. So Bhakti Charu is definitely very present. He had many, many very wonderful devotees who are doing wonderful things, who helped him do wonderful things. And if you carry out, if we all carry out his orders, understand him, even the GBC, we want to think, what would he say? What would his, attitude be about certain issues? He was the best friend of everyone, and all these things. The most charming person, very erudite scholar, but his classes were presented with great humility and clarity. No pride in his scholarship or how much he knew. He knew bhakti. He didn't know anything that wasn't in relation to bhakti. So if we hear from him more and more, we can hopefully develop, some attachment for bhakti, for love. So again, I want to thank whoever is inviting and arranging. It's painful in one sense to think, that we're not having the association. Like I said, on the GBC meetings, Bhakti Charu was a very important part of it and very active. He was chairman a couple of times and some in difficult times. And he did the work. He wasn't afraid to roll up his sleeves. But at the same time, he was always a sadhu and a gentleman. So in that sense, when we start to remember that, we don't have this person, but that increases our affection and our memories. And that's Gaudiya Vaishnavism, that's the Goswamis. Hey Krishna, Nanda, what is it? Hey Devake, Chalalite, where are you? The Goswamis were always crying, where are you? Where is Krishna? Where are you? Over here, over there. And they were running all over Vrindavan, thinking maybe he's over at Jamuna, maybe he's at Vamsipad, maybe he's at Govardhan, and running there trying to find him, never claiming they found him. But we can find Guru by, he lives with him who follows his instructions. So we all know the basic instructions, and then many, many devotees have personal instructions. And if we just carry it out to the best of our ability, we always have association. And we'll be together again in the spiritual world. The United Nations of the spiritual world, we all come together and chant the holy name again and have the nectar of Bhakti Charu kirtans. I always noted his kirtan, they were not, he was chanting the holy name and hard, very sweet, but very energetic for real old-fashioned Harinam, getting everybody dancing, and very clearly, not any fancy Bengali, so-called Bengali melodies, very simple, like Prabhupada taught, simple for the simple. Simplicity is an opulence, Prabhupada said. So if you're feeling separation, if you that means you have love, and love, is pleasing. When we love the Guru, it is very pleasing to Krishna. And the Guru will be there for us. It's in the heart. Chaitya Guru, he was manifested outside for some time. Now he manifests more inside again. Jai, Srila Bhakti Charu Swami, Ki Jai. Thank you all again, and I hope I get another chance. This is the first chance I had since the departure. I had a couple of meetings. Gauranga, Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Now, we know he had so much love for Srila Prabhupada, so the intense separation he was feeling was, painful in one sense, but it also the motivation for all the amazing service he did. Some of the things I didn't know about, how he helped so many projects in so many ways. Krishna gave him all this facility of wealthy disciples who loved him and would invest as he wanted. So he saved a new Mayapur. He did a lot I heard many different places I didn't know about. And of course, Ujjain, miraculous one. Go Ranga, go Ranga, go Ranga, go Ranga.